of lies. Truth will find us. We can hide in the night, but in the morning light, truth will find us.
All right, this is the Evan Ginzburg Show at VillageConnectionRadio.com. Jim Savali, our owner and engineer at the helm. And we are joined by my buddy, who I'm meeting for the first time, I believe, right? I mean, sometimes I meet so many people at conventions and shows I actually forget, but this is our first time.
It is.
Mark Madison, the owner, editor, whatever you would... What's your title from the Pro Wrestling Post?
Owner, and editor-in-chief.
Editor-in-chief.
You know.
There you go, like
go.
Perry Mason.
Something to that effect, yeah.
So, Pro Wrestling Post is
.com,
one of the .com. ProWrestlingPost.com is one of the few websites that I contribute to because I find many wrestling websites absolutely numbing and stultifying. Mm-hmm. I don't need a 5,000-word review of Raw, which isn't even worth watching, let alone 5,000 words. And you take a whole different approach to wrestling. Yeah. Tell us why ProWrestlingPost.com is special.
What I think the core and the heart of where wrestling is going is indie wrestling. And independent wrestling, whether it's pockets in New York, whether it's in the West Coast of Canada or in the UK or Australia, that's where the lifeblood, and this is where today's stars are coming from.
Oh yeah.
So they lay the foundation, and it's good to know, hey, I knew AJ Styles when. Hey, I knew Ricochet when. And now look at where they are. And it's not about, hey, I liked them back then. It's like not cool to listen or watch them now, but it is. But it's great to see that that's where the pulse of wrestling will be, and that's where we're taking it from. And there is a real following. We do cover the major promotions just because it brings eyes to the site, but the intention is that once you're on the site, let me get lost in the content. Hey, what's the blog that Evan Ginzburg wrote about when it is about Nikolai Volkov, or whether it was a Remembering King Kong Bundy when? Because I think it's just as important to show respect and honor the past, but embrace the future and the present. So,
speaking of that, one of my pet peeves, I'll go on various Facebook wrestling pages, and I'll see guys practically rewriting history. I see some insane things. Like one page was saying Johnny Valiant, who was a dear friend of mine, and it was gone now.
God rest his soul.
Yeah. Johnny Valiant was not a good talker. And I'm like, what are you, insane? Why would you post this? Why would 20 other guys, agree to this when nothing could be further from the truth? And then I saw Bob Orton Sr. was, Bob Orton Jr., I should say, Cowboy Bob Orton.
Right.
Was just Roddy Piper's stooge. And I'm like, excuse me. The guy was a legit main event guy. He wrestled Backlund for the belt time and time again. He main evented in all the territories. He was not just Roddy Piper's stooge. No. So you see people like misrepresenting the past. Then the classic, he was just a jobber, because they have no idea that these guys were champions in various territories, main event guys around the world. Some of these guys first saw wrestling during the Hulkamania era.
And that's where we're going with this,
yeah,
right?
So, Butcher Paul Vachon and Jerry Valiant and Buddy Rose and guys like this were doing jobs. These were legit main event stars prior. So they're rewriting history and speaking ill of the dead in many cases. And this bothers me as somebody who loved these guys and knew some of these guys. And it just, what's your take on all of this?
I think, unfortunately, with a lot of the fans, it's what I see, what I know, not whether to take the time to look back. And that gets lost. A mutual friend of ours, JP Zarka and Pro Wrestling Stories.
Another great website that I write for.
will embrace that too. And that's what you want, it's so important to try and bring that out too. And it's not okay to just try to rewrite history. Make that just as prevalent today, because if you're just going to look at Bob Orton Jr., did you take the time to look what came before? Ivan Koloff, he wasn't just part of the Russians. What about what he did before that, or the Moondogs, or
one guy once posted, Ivan Koloff was a great tag team wrestler, and sort of minimized his accomplishments. This guy headlined Madison Square Garden 13 times. He won the belt back when it meant something. Mm-hmm. He headlined every territory, fought for every title. Yeah. I mean, why, especially after they're gone, why minimize somebody's accomplishments?
I wish I had an answer for that.
I see guys on any given evening just all doing this, and supposedly on old school sites that are supposed to appreciate these
ironic
guys.
Part, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I wish I had a good answer for that, but I think we're in a social media age where everybody wants that quick bite, and it's got to be, if that's what's going to get the attention, if it is, and it generates attention, good, bad, they're getting it. And it doesn't make it right, but they get it, so it becomes important for people like yourself, people like myself, to embrace and say, hey, wait a minute, this is what they did. These are their lists of accomplishments, more than just a Wikipedia page would list, but actually, go back and show that and get direct quotes from people that saw them wrestle. Don't just, I never saw Captain Lou Albano. I think we had a recent conversation.
Yeah.
And he was, wait a minute, his mafia gimmick, it generated heat legitimately.
Lou Albano was not a great wrestler, but Lou Albano was a great manager.
Yeah.
And this is one of JP Zarka's boys, and me and him kind of went at it. He goes, Lou Albano was one of the 5 worst managers of all time. So I immediately said to the guy, I go, I forget the gentleman's name. I go, did you ever see him live? And no, he didn't. So at Madison Square Garden, Lou Albano inevitably would come out, create absolute chaos. Bruno, a Strongbow, a Monsoon would clock him, and he'd sort of be on the mat like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
The place went out of their minds, and the match hadn't even started yet. Yeah. The heat that this guy generated was off the charts. And, maybe he wasn't as good as a face manager, but if you saw heel Lou Albano from the mid-'70s to the mid-'80s, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Lou Albano with the Valiants, it was almost like performance art, like the promos these guys were doing. I mean, so to actually say he was one of the worst managers of all time is just absurd.
Was he a heel manager while managing the Samoans, the Wild?
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So he turned with that Cyndi Lauper angle. They clocked him over the head with the plaque. Anytime you see a plaque in wrestling, you go, it's going over the guy's head. Anytime you see a trophy, they're going to break it.
Contract signing, the same thing with the table.
Yeah, the table. Anytime you see a pie, it's going in somebody's face. These are rules. This is in the rule book.
Yeah.
But Captain Lou, and he was also a friend. I was on the road with Captain Lou. Yeah. So I don't like. I just don't like when people kind of rewrite history, and it's like, do the research.
Yeah.
Or I'm not going to say somebody sucks if I never saw him live.
No.
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Growing up, Iron Mike Sharp. Now, my only exposure to him was as enhancement talent, as the guy that's there to make everybody else look good. But his character as Canada's greatest athlete and from Hamilton, Ontario, and they all remember that.
Yeah.
Win or lose, he got attention, and he won more than he lost, unfortunately, before my time.
Right.
In seeing him compete, so I'm going to honor that too. And
Iron Mike Sharp wrestled Tito Santana for the Intercontinental Belt at the Garden, 20-minute draw. Iron Mike Sharp wrestled Backlund for the belt at the Philadelphia Spectrum and in other arenas. And he headlined in territories.
Yeah.
So, again, when you just go, he was just a jobber, that may have been his most famous role, when wrestling blew up, or the most recent role.
Yeah.
But the guy was a legit main event guy.
Yeah.
So, again, and even the word jobber is almost disrespectful.
It is.
The way the fans use it anyway. So, I tell people all the time, Johnny Rodz was as great as anybody I've ever seen. Johnny Rodz, if you took his one-loss record, you might not be impressed, but I saw Johnny Rodz wrestle Billy Robinson at the Garden. It was like a clinic. I saw Johnny Rodz wrestle Fujinami for the junior heavyweight belt. It was great. Great. I mean, I saw Rodz and Black Gordman, etc., so on. Rodz was a tremendous wrestler. Yeah. Then he would go out to the Olympic Auditorium under a different name and headline. Yeah. So again, why minimize somebody's accomplishments? And it's almost like you got bored people who haven't accomplished much. Minimizing people that have been to the mountaintop.
It doesn't really make you better by knocking somebody else's accomplishments, because for them to even be at the point that they're at.
See, I'm the opposite. You see, I'll go after the successful guys. I'm like Randy Orton. You're not leaving it in the ring. You're not giving 110%. No. You're making big money. You are a big star. Give 110%. Don't attack.
But you've managed to bridge that gap between wrestling of a different era and today, and you can still find appreciation in today's independent shows because you still attend.
Not only do I attend, I support it. I write them up for your website. I'm actually in the ring as part of Team Splendid. Yeah. I mean, I love indie wrestling, and it's exactly what you said. You're going to see the stars of tomorrow. And here's the other thing. Like minor league baseball, it's the best bargain out there. For 10, 15, 20 bucks, you have a 3 or 4 hour live show. You're meeting the athletes. You're getting autographs. You're taking pictures. Yeah. There's nothing more personal than an indie wrestling show. My buddy's nephew, my oldest friend, we would take him and his friends to indies, not the WWE, where they'd meet the wrestlers. They loved it. Yeah. They loved it.
We were fortunate. So Pro Wrestling Post, I want to say the week of August 7th, or the 5th, to maybe the 11th, when we had SummerSlam happening in Toronto. So we were fortunate. We sponsored 3 Smash wrestling shows, which is one of the more premier independent promotions in Toronto.
Okay, so here's your chance to cut a promo. why is Smash better than the 5,000 other indies out there?
Because they put the fans first. They're reasonable. They try to bring in talent that's hot, and they manage to work with other promotions too. Incredibly personable. Their staff, from Sebastian, who was an enhancement talent on Monday Night Raw. He was actually one of the people that the Viking Raiders beat up. He actually runs the promotion. Okay. But he's learned under Tyson Dukes, and there's like a group of 4 of them. So they continue to work
Tyson
harder.
got hurt, right?
I believe so. He competed on the Friday show that we were at.
Oh, so he's back now.
Yeah.
Because I remember a while back he got hurt, right?
Yeah, but he's more his mentor more than anything, and he's such an important part of this particular promotion. But yeah, that's where I would say Smash is head and shoulders above others too. I had the opportunity to talk to Chris Daniels and Sammy Guevara, because they're connected with the Oriental Wrestling Entertainment, that promotion that's come out of. Yeah. So they did a cross-branded show with Smash. Nice. And to hear Chris Daniels talk about Brent Banks, who's really smooth in the ring, it also says something, right? And their notable talent is recognizing aspiring talent and can see that the future is bright. So
Chris Daniels is one of those guys who should have made it to WWE. I never saw the guy in a bad match.
No.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
But in talking to him, I had asked him about his championship win for Ring of Honor, and if he
I was there.
Yeah, but he had said if it hadn't happened, his career isn't any less of a success. He was happy because that was the best story to tell at the time, and he was willing to go with it. It wasn't anybody pushing for it. Maybe those that know of his commitment to his art and him honing his craft. But yeah, he managed to reinvent himself. Total pro in chatting with him too.
Some of these guys from Ring of Honor, like Roderick Strong, I mean, They never had a bad match.
No,
Not
no,
that I saw.
no.
Homicide. I mean, these guys are just great. Low-key. Ring of Honor always had good taste in wrestlers.
Yeah,
You know?
and they developed a lot of who we see today, right? Emerging, your Samoa
yeah.
Joes and
The WWE cherry picks them. No, really. What do you think of the fans? This rubs me the wrong way. You know, AEW shows up, and all of a sudden, like Ring of Honor is like dirt beneath their feet. It really feels like front runners.
Yeah.
Because Ring of Honor's been out there, what, 16, 17 years?
since 2001, 2002. So it was like right around the turn of the century.
17, 18
Yeah,
years. So here you have this, underdog promotion. They're out there nearly 20 years with great wrestling. And all of a sudden, it's like nothing but criticism. I mean, I don't get it.
With Ring of Honor, the criticism has come with, I think a lot of the criticism is the booking and the decision making, and they seeing certain value in certain. I guess fans put more stock in certain wrestlers than they do in others, and the talent that they had, the notables, where they were, the quality of the matches, all of that. Not that they're any less, but the notable names are gone, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about who, and it's restocking that talent, right?
Oh, yeah.
And
Like-
they're owned by Sinclair, right? So you've got a broadcasting company, so there's got to be some money there. So
Yeah, Sinclair has plenty of money.
yeah, so that's what I mean. So how much is allocated to developing from your dojo, and how many is, well, let's bring in wrestler X who's got a name, in the UK or in Australia, or what will they do when they're here? So I don't know. And everyone's trying to create a kind of a Monday Night Wars now with AEW and WWE.
That last AEW pay-per-view and the last Ring of Honor pay-per-view, I thought they were pretty comparable in quality. I didn't see a huge difference. The Matt Taven main event got cut off. It was kind of short. But both were mixed bags, and both had excellent matches on them. I didn't see a huge difference in quality, honestly.
I don't know if fans just aren't warming to Matt Taven, and I don't know what it is.
Matt Taven's not Nigel McGuinness, but he's a quality wrestler.
Yeah.
He's not Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan, but he's a quality wrestler.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's where the criticism is. They're I don't know if they have to do something because he's generating heat. He's doing a great enough job in his role.
I enjoy him.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between great and very good. I understand that.
Yeah. So
I do understand that. But what I don't understand is completely turning on them.
Yeah.
Which is what is
yeah,
happening.
it's sad. So I it's not willing to bury your promotion. Let's see what's going to happen. You wouldn't give up completely for as many fans as the WWE have had and lost. There's still the intention. How do I maintain your attention? What do I need to do as a promotion, as a wrestler, to give you the best bang for your buck and still put out a quality show? So if they're building relationships with CMLL, and if they're doing something in Japan and trying to build those relationships, we'll see.
I pay for Honor Club, Ring of Honor's Honor Club. I pay for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I pay for the WWE Network. So I support wrestling. I just don't see, good guy, bad guy. This promotion is garbage, and this promotion is the be-all and end-all. I mean, there's some flaws in AEW. I mean, that Battle Royale was horrible on that first show. I'm sorry. I actually agreed with Cornette with some of what he said.
Yeah.
That Battle Royale was...
If you don't give backstory to any of those people, why am I going to care about them, right? And that's where a lot of the criticism came. Not the quality of the wrestlers that are in there, but I have no idea who X, Y, and Z are, especially if it's on a major show and you're showcasing them for the first time. Give me a reason to care, right? So
that Orange Cassidy shtick, I mean, I could take or leave, and it would have to be in small doses.
Yeah.
I mean, some of what Cornette says makes sense to me as an old school fan, but Cody and Dustin was great. That was off the charts great.
Yeah. But that's what they wanted to do years ago when they had their feud, and it was an 8-minute match, and the two of them, there's so much more that they probably left to want to do, and they did their dad proud. I mean, there was a lot of...
That was awesome.
A lot of symbolism, if you see online, they've run a Cody Dustin promo towards the end with a Dusty promo, and it mirrors itself in some of the dialogue even. And I was like, this is very intentional. So somebody either looked it up and put it out there, but they made it
I
prominent.
think that was the best match I ever saw Cody and Dustin in. Both of them that I've ever seen in all the decades we've been watching these guys.
If you can't trust your brother, when you're in there with your life, who are you going to trust, right?
I wish I had seen Dory versus Terry live. That would have been great. And that I never saw.
I'm pretty sure Terry's still wrestling somewhere.
He's like 75.
I don't think he stops though. Like
Jimmy Valiant's like 77. He still wrestles.
Yeah, he does.
He still wrestles. So tell us what's coming up with the ProWrestlingPost.com.
Well, today I'm here with my wonderful sister, who's being a fantastic tour guide, and at the same time, I rushed to try and we actually had our Impact interrogation, we call it. It's less of an interrogation and more about the show itself. So they just offered that. That's just probably published at about 11 o'clock this morning. Have a review that just came out on South Pro Wrestling in New Zealand, which is an emerging. They work a lot with Melbourne City Wrestling, also in Australia. So keep an eye out for that. A talent like Travis Banks that's becoming popular with the WWE will compete there. A lot of the guys have these contracts, I guess, that allows the fluency for them to move around.
Partly because WWE doesn't pay these like NXT guys great, and some of these guys.
So they're allowed the flexibility to say, "Hey, I need more bookings. I'm going to sell my merch at a table," and that came out. We're working on something or some more All Japan work. One of our writers is in and out of conversations. Is going to have something coming out later today. We've also hoping to build some relationships with Progress Wrestling, and they've got wonderful talent in there. And anybody
they
that
come
knows
to New York sometimes.
The show they put on, the outgoing promoter, co-promoter Jim Smallman, he has a routine because he's partly a comedian too, where he'll make a point of saying what the age limit is at the show. I'm just letting everybody know it's a 16 plus show. Everyone, it is a 16 plus show. So just remember, it is a 16 plus show. And then he looks and he finds the youngest possible fan that might be 8, might be 10, and he'll ask them, so you understand that this is a 16 plus show, right? It's to be here, you need to be 16 years of age or older. You can't be, so how old are you? And they'll say 20. Everybody will cheer. Yeah. And the show that we went to, unfortunately, the fan didn't pick up on that, and he said his age, and everybody reacted, and he cried.
Oh no!
And unfortunately, so Jim, being a total pro, brings over the dad as well, and they're chatting with the little boy, and in his ear you can hear him saying, "Say 20, say 20." So eventually he gets to that, and he says, "How old are you?" 20, and then everybody cheers, right? And they celebrate, and they're cheering this little boy's name out. It was a fun time, right? Yeah. But they're responsive to the crowd wherever they are, and he said that he's leaving after chapter 100, and they're at 94 right now, so it's rounding the corner for his time there. But
it's great that you support the indies. Like I said, I just find it stultifying when you have a mediocre WWE pay-per-view and every website in the world is reviewing it like it's sent from heaven. And it's
so from a technical side, we cover it because it brings people to the site. Is it my most passionate? No, because it's great. I like different flavors of ice cream. Chocolate might be the best, but I like different flavors of ice cream, and we hope to bridge that with everybody else and say, you can like your chocolate, but we've got vanilla, and we've got strawberry, we've got, and hey, by the way, we put caramel sauce on this one. You want to check that out too.
And you have actual wrestlers and promoters and everybody writing for you.
We actually have a producer writing for us. Can you believe it?
Yeah, that's me.
That's
me.
You. Yeah, we have referees. We have a color commentator out in the west coast of Canada writing for us. We have wrestlers out of Manitoba. It's funny, a lot of Canadian wrestlers that are trying to build their name, and I'm just giving them a platform. Whether I agree with their opinion is irrelevant.
So
They're there to try to showcase what they know and what is on their mind and what's hot pressing, and maybe if it provides them good bookings, fantastic. I'm not taking
So
a
if
piece
wrestlers approached you to write, you're open to it.
Totally, yeah. So, you know.
What if they're horrible writers?
I had...
What if they're good wrestlers and horrible writers?
well, that's what the editing
that's what the
process
editor
is
does.
first.
Okay.
You might want to rethink this part and this part. And I had cards to give you. It's too bad. I actually had like business cards with our email on it. So I guess
next time.
Yeah, next time. Definitely.
Next time. So plug anything you want to plug.
Okay. So really, we really try and make sure that any show previews that we have up, we try to have it 72, 48 hours before the show, or else it gets lost. We really try to have something that's become a hot button of attention in the and new. And so a hashtag and new, so a new champion, or if a champion is retained. So not for every small show, but a major show, a big enough show that it generates eyes on the content too. We're really trying to reach out, still grab more content. There's a lot of great wrestling out in Chile, and we have coverage in Puerto Rico, and we're trying to really push that. I'm connecting with some of our writers. Hey, by the way, did you hear that Epico Cologne won the WWC championship? And I just found this out. Apparently Primo is his cousin, and Carlos, either his father or his uncle, I'm not quite sure, runs the operation too. So that's prominent news. So, but if you don't push that, it gets lost. Who hears about it, right? You know, the Alberto El Patron promotion, which it's funny talking to people behind the scenes. It's interesting. They're not really sure what the future is going to lie for him and the reliability, but you hope that it succeeds. It provides an outlet and work for somebody, right? So they need that. So yeah, that's what we're trying to do. We have generally wrestler blogs come out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday sometimes. We're covering more of the West Coast in the U.S. So Defy Wrestling is a big supporter of us, and we make a point of connecting with them. So when he's Isaiah Scott now, Swerve, Shane Strickland, he's doing his thing now in NXT, but you know, way back when he helped to develop this promotion that's booming. So when the Young Bucks show up to a Defy show or show up to an AAW Pro show, it's, hey, guess what? This is where the buzz is, and we'll bring you on our back, and we'll bring you on our back, and we'll give you that platform. But it feels like a lot of promotions have their own streaming services because that's how they're going to get their content out. So, and we've made inroads with Power Slam TV, which is a streaming service, and they've got content from all over. And
that's awesome.
It's great to watch, have access to thousands of hours of content from promotions all over the world that you otherwise wouldn't be. And that's another streaming service that I would encourage anybody to sign up for.
It's interesting. I tell people all the time, there's so much great, not only wrestling content, but you know, movies, TV content. You could literally sit in front of a TV or a computer 24/7 and never like make a dent in it.
No.
So when the old school fans do there's been no good wrestling since the territories, I'm like, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about. Yeah. I say it's a golden age of wrestling right now, where you could watch New Japan Pro Wrestling live in the comfort of your home, you know, where there's AEW, even WWE. Every pay-per-view, there's something worth seeing. I mean, there's tons of great content. And, of course, the indies.
Yeah.
And, you know, to say that nothing good has been around since the 80s, it's so narrow-minded. Same thing with music, people. Yeah. There's been no good music since the Beatles. Just shut up. You know, it's ridiculous.
It's funny, we were having a conversation about the Beatles and, you know, where rock originated. And, well, hold on a second. Did you look past, like, what about Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard and how they all were a part of that, right? So
what about independent artists in 2019 who are great? I probably do 25 concerts a summer. I mean, there's been no good music since 1969. How absurd. Absurd. Just stop.
Well, no, Woodstock 50 didn't happen. I'm wondering what I guess there was a whole bunch of issues around that happening, but that would have been pretty
one of the
prominent show, no?
previous Woodstock, I think it was 25 or whatever, there was all kinds of violence,
Yeah.
and destruction, so I'm sure that factored into it. But the love, peace, and music days are a little behind us.
Yeah.
But let me do a quick couple of plugs. Sure. Next Saturday, I'll actually be on this card with Team Splendid. This is ACW, Alpha Championship Wrestling. It's Saturday the 24th, 6 p.m. And this is at Catch in Astoria, 3119 Newton Avenue. And this is Astoria's Rumble for the Gold, featuring Team Splendid, Rage, Papa Don, Brother Greatness and crew. And, of course, don't forget about 350 days available everywhere. Amazon and, everywhere you could possibly think of. Next week, right here on the show, we have Jim Phillips from the Gorilla Position, Super Nitro, indie wrestler, and German jazz great Karsten Ratke bringing some tremendous live jazz artists into the studio. And also want to plug our wrestling show at the station, Mike Monty's Monty and the Pharaoh, Thursdays 8:05. And Jim Phillips from the Gorilla Position will be here next week. Mm-hmm. I also want to, of course, acknowledge ProWrestlingStories.com after I trashed his writer for 10 minutes earlier in the show. It's a great website, and that was the one point of contention. Mm-hmm. JP Zark is a great guy. What do you think of JP's website?
I think JP's great. I talk to him fairly often, and he's got this great idea now where he's taking the concepts or the stories that we've written, because I was a contributor much like yourself, and turning them into T-shirts, graphic T-shirts, which is a really neat idea.
Flight from Hell.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. I'm like, I can't wait for my one that I did, or two or three. I'm like, well, I would definitely get that one.
And you want to know something?
Sure.
That niche marketing, not everybody's going to know what the reference is, but the people that do are going to love it. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the way to go in this day and age, niche marketing like that. So check out JP's shirt, and your shirt's going to be available soon as well, the one that you're wearing. Yeah. And
we're looking at prototype. We're just kind of looking at not losing it, making it a little wider. But I like the concept. I really was.
It looks classy instead of trashy. Some wrestling shirts. I was on a subway once. This is a great story. I'm pointing at your sister who's off camera. This guy's wearing an Abdullah the Butcher shirt, and the shirt is covered in blood. And we had just seen an Abdullah the Butcher match live, and he's on a packed subway car, and he goes, "Did you see all the blood? It was great." And everybody on the train looked terrified, like the guy was going to start open firing, because wrestling fans don't realize how strange some of them are.
I walked in and in lineup with them. Like, I look over at my wife. I'm like, "Am I like this too?" She said, "Well, a little bit." So
sometimes you see body shapes that aren't human at a wrestling show, and you go, "I'm in the right place. This must be the building." That and the ring rental truck in the back. That's how you know you're at a wrestling show.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm grateful because this has kind of been a labor of love. This is actually JP helped to encourage the idea and the concept. You should create your own site, and the whole idea around Pro Wrestling Post is to have that newspaper feel. I used to love picking up like Wrestling Eye, those publications in the past. But how do you try to move it into the 21st, 22nd century?
Here's the thing with wrestling, quote unquote, journalism. Just because somebody obsessively watches wrestling, one, it doesn't mean they're a writer. Two, you have to understand the principles of writing. Okay, you have a lead sentence that grabs people. It's not just the bombardment of information. Wrestling fans are always looking for that scoop, that information, and they don't quite appreciate writing. Yeah. And JP Zarka just added Bob Roop to his staff. And I said to Mr. Roop, I said, "You're a writer. This guy, when he writes, you could see everything." Yeah. He said, writing is different than, again, let's overanalyze every match and every angle on Raw. Writing is something different.
Yeah.
So if you have writers on your site as opposed to obsessive fans, you're already ahead of the game.
Well, the one intention, because we're so heavy in previews and reviews and those and indie spotlight profiles, so we try and take local talent and give and showcase where they've been, where they are, and hopefully where they're going. The idea isn't about trashing anybody. It's about bringing more attention to it. If I'm going to promote say an upcoming show, the worst thing I could do is try to condemn the show that you're trying to help bring eyes to. And by the way, get tickets at the show that's garbage. It just doesn't make sense, right?
The indie promoters have to stop killing each other also. It's tired already.
Yeah.
Everybody work together and make some money.
Yeah.
I've had indie promoters say to me, I lost money on 18 out of 20 shows, but I'm plowing ahead. And I'm like, you're insane. You're insane.
Yeah.
Some indie promoters, they're just never going to figure it out. No. You don't need 14 matches, the nepotism, the cronyism, the mic that doesn't work, the guy's on the mic, you don't understand a word he's saying.
Yeah.
You walk out, you're drained, you're exhausted. Less is more. Have 7, 8, 9 matches. Do it 2.5, 3 hours. Leave people wanting more. Not everybody gets on the mic. I could do a seminar on what not to do as an indie promoter.
Yeah.
I've seen guys lose fortunes, lose wives, lose houses, lose girlfriends, end up in welfare hotels. I've seen this.
Was it worth it?
It wasn't worth it. It wasn't. I've seen guys have breakdowns. I mean, it's not worth it. So try to learn from your mistake instead of fighting with the other idiot who's, running 5 miles away from you.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, we're going to bring Mr. Big to join the conversation.
Interesting.
We're going to show maybe the 350 Days commercial and our sponsor, and we'll be back in just a moment, folks.
The wrestling fan, they loved you or they hated you. If the fan loved you, they couldn't do enough for you. They want to buy your meal, they want to buy your drink. I think it was one of the main reasons that, whenever I stepped into the ring, I wanted to give back. I wanted to satisfy their reason for coming out and watching me wrestle.
I tell you what, I treated fans with respect and they loved me back. Whether I was a heel or a babyface, it didn't matter.
I learned right from the get-go with my parents that was to appreciate every single fan that you got, everyone. I think that's one of the reasons I've had longevity in wrestling is that I always treated my fans with a lot of respect.
They wanted to kill me trying to get to my car, and they always knew I was in a Cadillac or something, and it was, you were in fear for your life sometimes.
The New Jersey crowds were always great in the Boston Garden. It was dangerous at the Boston Garden.
The fans were believers in that era. They believed the doggone thing was real. And they were some of the fans were very violent.
I look back on it and I'm saying, well, you put up a lot of you-know-what. But you know something? That's what drove me to do it. Because the more those people hated me, more this I made.
I was being punched and kicked, and I was having beer thrown on me. I was being hit by chairs.
How angry do you want to make your wrestling fans? How much do you want to butcher up your baby faces until they're all bleeding and they're being beaten by 8 or 10 guys? I mean, how far can you push an audience before they lose it and then you have the Alamo kind of thing?
Play with people's heads, You got to play with their minds. You got to play with them. Psychology. Because that's how you manipulate people. And that's what I do. That's what I did for a living. I manipulated you when you were a kid. I know I did. Because you probably didn't like me. Or you might have liked me because I was that way. And a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. Thank you for the living I made at it, people. You were very good to me.
All right, we are back with the Evan Ginzburg Show, and Mr. Big is here. He has his own personal fan because he's special. There you go.
I brought my favorite fan.
There you go.
But listen, this thing works great. They fool you to say, oh, $10, and they give you a picture that's like this big. And that's all I thought it was going to be. If you went, no, but it's that little thing. But it works. What the hell?
And later in the show...
Savali, spring for some freaking air conditioning. I wanted to bring these little gimmicks here.
Yes. And later in the show, we have Karen Beller,
I saw her.
excellent singer, songwriter.
I like a woman that looks like that.
We're talking about the talent, not the face.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I know she's very
This is
talented.
2019.
She wouldn't be on the show if she didn't have talent.
That's right.
What am I, a fucking idiot?
That's right.
I'm giving you my personal opinion, my angle. On
You
things.
immediately go to she's pretty.
Well, what am I supposed to do? What do
Yeah.
I know from her? She's got carrying a guitar on her back. You know, she looks
a gunny
good.
sack.
She did her makeup nice. She came looking prepared for the job.
Okay.
So I'll take it that you put somebody on that's got talent. I'm gonna stick around and listen to her sing.
Awesome. Awesome.
Does she write music too?
Oh, yeah. Singer, songwriter.
See, we're getting her over. She ain't even on yet. We're getting her over.
Right.
But she's singer-songwriter.
That's
See?
right.
That's good. I like that.
That's what we
That's
do
good.
here. It's an eclectic mix.
Well, I know.
Hey, you're a musician.
Well, yeah, I've been around.
We never talk about
You know,
that.
I mean, it's funny. All right, let's talk about
You're a
it.
musician? Oh, you're going to perform.
No, I'm not performing right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Blues
But believe it or not,
musician.
No, I want to tell you something.
You look like a blues musician.
I was damn right. I learned
That's a
from
stereotype.
Duds. Duds was the name of my harmonica teacher. His name was Richie Schoenberg. And I stumbled upon him, or rather he stumbled upon me in Brooklyn, in Canarsie. We just moved in, and I was a young kid. And I bought one of these little Hohner harmonicas. And obviously but the low end, you know what I mean, was maybe $2 or $3 at the time, you know. Those were the days when we used to build with Lincoln logs, and instead of playing on the computers, you know, I was a kid. But I'm wandering around Bayview, which is, you know, a few miles from my house, and a guy comes over to me in the park. Well, not the park, like an old man, you know, a teenager, you know, comes over, he's a couple of years older than me, and I'm playing, and he goes, yeah, that's pretty good. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was just, you know, playing, learning.
Yeah.
Right, I figured it out though. I figured it out good enough to play the Cat Club and CBGB's
Wow.
and the Night Owl and a few other joints in Manhattan. Yeah, the Cat Club was a big joint.
Yeah.
We opened up for the Beautiful. I got so from freaking many years ago. Christian Death. That was one of the bands I was in. We opened up for Christian Death. I played with Thomas Truax and Dark Tricks. Now we'll go eclectic. Wrestling manager, heel, all of this. I was a drummer in a band with a guy who is still playing to this day throughout Europe. Thomas Truax. I want to get him over. Look him up on Facebook. You'll find him.
Spell it.
Truax.
Okay.
Thomas Truax. He's invented some new instruments. Okay, his Mother Superior. They're very interesting. He's got a microphone with a Victrola horn on there and some very interesting stuff and interesting guitars and other electronic doodads. A big hit. He does a big tour. Well, I want to get him over, but I played for a while with that band. I used to audition when I was first playing drums, first learning, and I used to audition for bands just to play. You know what I mean? Play with different kinds of music until I settled into one band. They were kind of a party band,
Right.
but they were real good. So I brought a couple of my songs because I'm a songwriter as well.
Wow.
And I write lyrics. And one day I'll bring you the tape and we could all have a laugh. I have some on recording with my voice when I was able to sing. When I had more than this, pluck your magic twang of Froggy.
That's from screaming at wrestling shows.
That's from smoking cigarettes and whatever else. It's from Conolingus. It's from screaming at wrestling shows, having no microphone.
Microphones that don't work.
Yeah, late night and early morning, or early morning and late night, whatever, however you want to work it. But that's over the years. Yeah, but I still got a voice. Every damn day, I'm sure you're glad to hear it. They're out there going, I wish you'd shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Right? But I could talk every day in my life. And actually, if you notice, the more I talk, the better my voice gets.
There you go.
Right? See, it works it out on Sunday morning.
So you have some big shows coming up. Plug away.
We'll talk about my music career later. And I actually did have a career. I got paid.
By the way, one of the 10 greatest shows I ever saw live, and I've seen thousands, James Cotton headlining the Bear Mountain Music Festival. He had a thing of whiskey. He knocked it off. He played for like 3 hours. He didn't want to get off the stage. Finally, the promoters like shut the lights and made him leave. It was unbelievable.
He was a party kind of guy.
James Cotton was great.
I love the blues. I love playing the blues, and I'm pretty damn good. I must admit, I got some recordings over the years, that I kept. I'm one of them guys. I'm a keeper, so I kept the stuff, And one day I'll bring it on, and maybe we'll figure out a way we could play it through Savali's antiquated equipment, and have you hear some music. You know what I mean? We could look at your ugly mug and my ugly mug talking about it.
Yeah.
But I got some shows to plug. The most recent one is USA Pro Wrestling. That's going to be in Deer Park at the NYWC Sportatorium, 435 something or other, Brook Boulevard or Brook Avenue.
The elegant NYWC Sportatorium.
It's a real nice place. It's a real nice joint, like they say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And,
it's like the Waldorf.
And there's still a few tickets left, Not many, though. And truthfully, not many. Because the place is going to be packed. It's September 7th. It's coming up right around the corner.
Kevin Sullivan's on it. He's one of my all-time favorites.
There's a lot of great guys, and I'm not going to go through the whole list because every day, if you go to the USA Pro Wrestling group on Facebook, every day you'll see posters about Fright Trine challenging Scott Steiner and Kevin Sullivan. No, he called them all out. He called both brothers out, and Kevin Sullivan was most recent. And Kevin Sullivan had made a...
Is Kevin Sullivan, is he wrestling or managing?
Oh, no, he's wrestling. But it's
awesome.
it's funny because he had some shit to say about Fright Trine. And Freight Train came back with him, and he's the $5 wrestling champion, and it's the funniest shit I ever seen. Well, not the funniest, but pretty close lately. But all right, so that's enough plugging that. Yeah. But it's going to be a great show. I think everybody knows about it already, but just a reminder, it's September 7th.
I go just to see Kevin Sullivan. You're going to get great brawl.
Yeah, it's going to be, seriously, you got some great guys in there. Listen, Shane Douglas. There's nothing to shake a stick at. Well, he's been shaking a stick at plenty of times. A kendo stick, Justin Credible will be there, in shape as I understand, like ready to wrestle.
There you go.
Okay, see, that's the thing. Shane Douglas, always ready to wrestle.
He's a super nice guy. I like him.
And I like the guy too. Yeah. But best thing he did, I thought, was them torturing Al Snow for a year. Him, Chris Candido, and Bam Bam Bigelow. Yeah. The triple threat. When they came out with that, and then they tortured Al. It was what a great program that was. That was in the days when you had a program still, right? Program is when you have the wrestlers fighting the same guys over and over again in some form or other over a long period of time in different states and different territories and different arenas, so everybody gets a taste of what happened between them. All right, and that's what they did, and that's how we came out with Head. So there's another guy I love, and he taught me a lot too. He taught me when you feed into the ring, don't stall, because otherwise you're coming into the ring over the fucking top on your head. All right, so I learned it. Believe me, it never happened again. I'm supposed to feed in. My ass is in the ring. All right, there ain't no hesitation or freezing. All right, if he happens to ever watch this.
He's still pretty heavily involved in OVW, right?
Are you kidding me? He's involved.
Well, yeah, other things, but I'm just saying.
Collar and elbow. He's never left the wrestling business. He's always been there.
He's in tremendous shape.
I love this guy. Love him. And a hell of a worker. You know what I mean? A hell of a worker. He really was. Underrated, but then again, his gimmick sucked. It wasn't him that sucked, because that guy could wrestle rings around anybody. Yeah. But his gimmick sucked in the beginning. Hi, it's Al Snow from Lime, Ohio. That was it. Well, understandable. I guess that's what they wanted, But that was what happened today. And to plug the second show, which to me personally is more important, September 28th, New Evolution Wrestling. And I got a little news for a few of you in a moment, but September 28th and October 19th, and November 16th at the Elks Lodge. Yes, we've gone to one show a month.
You're running like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later?
One show in September, one show in October, one show in November.
That's awesome.
Already starting to formulate. I don't fuck around.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Come on.
Get momentum.
Because I have guys helping me, and I'm helping them. See, Let me leak it now, all right? Because now that you know the 3 dates and you know the Elks Lodge, you know where it is. It's on the Queensboro Elks Lodge on Queens Boulevard.
There's a giant elk outside in case
and it's
you
right
get
next
lost.
door. It's right next door. You know what I mean? If you go and you go up the block about 30, 40 feet, the entrance is right there, right off the corner. It's the white building. It's the catering hall part of the building.
The 2-ton elk statue outside is the clue.
I love that elk. I really and I love working that building. Yeah. And I worked that building. Believe me, I got into wrestling because I filtered my way into the building through that. I figured out the logistics of the building. I figured out everything I needed to find out, and I got in and out as I pleased, knew where to go and what to do. That's how I got into the guys in ECW, and that's how when Frank ran there, I knew that place inside and out. What a fucking place! And the balcony, come on, Evan. To me, that was the greatest place to wrestle in the world. I know Madison Square Garden, but if you're thinking a little small, a little more cozy, where you feel like people could almost fall out on the top of your head, and you love it because you can smell it, you can hear it, it's the sound of it, and it's genuine, and that to me gives me fucking goosebumps. The Elks Lodge was the place to wrestle.
Yeah, I was there many times.
And Frank packed the place every freaking time.
And there was always the guy who would jump off the balcony.
Well, it would happen occasionally. But I'm talking about when we did shows there, believe me, people still talk about him to this day. Still talking, and that's why Frank is able to run for 27 years.
I liked when Lowlife Louie wrestled Abdullah the Butcher, and he was wearing an Abdullah the Butcher T-shirt. I thought that was classic.
Great tribute.
So his shirt is covered with blood, and he's wrestling the guy.
And Abby. Yeah. Well, come on, you know how much he loved Abby, and how much he emulated him. Yeah. Okay, and that was a tribute to him wearing his shirt, and also an offense because now there's 2 guys looking with that fotch. You know what I mean? But Lowlife Louie, another guy, great.
So it was done out of respect. It wasn't
out
done
of respect.
Of course, it was done out of respect.
Yeah.
No, but in the midst of that match, I'm thinking
he's
the
wearing
idea
the guy's
is like
T-shirt.
Well, listen, if you would have taken off the T-shirt and choked Abdullah with it, maybe then it would
Spat
have been,
on him,
that'd be different. But he didn't. That T-shirt never left his chest.
Yeah.
It
was kind of surreal looking at that.
Yeah.
Those are the days. See, we say those were the days, and then we'll say later on, those were the days, when the guy with the shake weight came. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're introducing a couple of new wrestlers at the September 28th show. So let me get them on. And I'm impressed with this guy. It's funny because my guy has got to face him. I brought in a young man who, although not of giant magnitude and stature physically, is ripped. Is ripped like a river, all right? He's colossal Mike Law. Big guy. This way, heart-wise.
Yeah, I know Mike.
Guts.
Mike's a great wrestler.
Hearts and guts.
Yeah.
Talent and technique. A lot of strength in that frame. Yeah. And he's going to be going against another guy we're bringing in, Sizzling Stan Styles. I'm sorry I'm fucking up your name, man.
We're
Sizzling Stan Styles. This guy carries a 13-inch shake weight and knows just how to use it. He's a character. And one thing I got to say, look, I put a guy in a show, right? He should be excited about it, right? You would think. I put Homicide and Julius Smokes in the show, and what did Julius do? Immediately cut a promo for me. Crazy, bro. But challenging Bull James and telling everybody what to expect. He was right out there. My young guys do it too. Casey Lycan did it. Okay, Chris Craven came out and did what his daughter came out and did one, which is the funniest thing I ever saw. Okay, that really was the funniest thing I ever saw currently. Okay?
I like when I invite an entire crew of wrestlers down to the station and not one can be bothered.
They can't be bothered. That's the point I'm trying to make.
To do a promo.
Stan Styles. Now we got to face him on September 28th. All right, and he's a good guy. He's a popular guy. Guy put out a promo immediately. And he got my name right.
There you go.
Okay? And he got, he knows what he's doing. He knows who he's facing. He knows where he's going to be. I appreciate it. We're going to kick the shit out of you, but I appreciate it. Stan, we're going to kick the crap out of you, okay?
But thanks for the promos.
But thanks for the promo. Yeah. And you know what? You keep up the good work, and you take your squash properly.
Yeah.
I'm making some prediction here. Right? My Joe Namath, you know what I mean? I guarantee, But when it's all over, we'll invite you back. Don't worry.
So Mark Madison from the Pro Wrestling Post, he featured NEW.
Well,
Yeah.
and we appreciate that
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
And I, you looked surprised. Maybe they didn't see
Well,
it, maybe they saw, but October show on the 19th, and then November 16th. Well, November 16th is Inception 2. That's our first anniversary
Sounds like
show.
a porno.
Inception, well, the first one was...
Oh, that's Conception.
No, that's Conception,
okay.
yes.
Okay.
Or Contraception.
So,
Okay.
Depending on which way you want to go with it.
It's interesting how small the world works. So one of our writers is interviewing Stan Styles, and that'll be up on the site. So he's actually...
So that's it's going to all work full circle.
Look at this. It really does come like a triangle.
And
Tell him to plug the match in the article.
Well, I will.
I have to tell him we just did. He just said, I guess, he just kind of committed himself to it.
Yeah.
Well, he
A little sip of this.
this promoter that writes for us, he's based out of the Carolinas, and Stan is running a show, Intergender Bonanza.
Speaking of intergender, September 28th, intergender match.
Yeah.
We're going to have an intergender division. I got real balls, I'm telling you. If you're going to go with it, if they're going to go with a match here, a match there to try to get some extra people in there with intergender bullshit, good. I'm taking the fucking over. All right, the three-way, the two tag teams, 3 and 3, the trio match, Lucha Libre, doing it. Lucha Libre matches, doing it. 4-way matches, doing it. I'm telling you, New Evolution Wrestling, October, we're going to get some surprises. That's called Horrorween. I hate that title, but that's okay. Horrorween. And November 16th is going to be the Inception 2, which is our first anniversary. But October is going to be some crazy shit. And just so you know, Robert Saint is not gone. He's not, in the woodwork someplace. Robert Saint has been around the whole time. Okay, Robert Saint things just kind of transferred, as I told you. They transferred to me and my silent partner, JR, Junior as I call him. But Robert Saint, buddy, dust your shit off, okay? You're coming back. You don't got a choice. You're going to be sitting in your living room, Rob, and saying, just when I got out, they bring me back in, or whatever the line is. All right? Terrible impersonation. But Robert's going to be back with me.
There you go.
Okay, because he's the guy that started this whole thing. It's a good creative idea. Smart young man. Pretty good at business, and I'm going to help him with that too. The booking, everything else, at least it'll be a team effort of some brains, some common sense, and some imagination.
What's the line, I'll ask both you guys, with the intergender wrestling where the dateless wonder fanboys get off just a little too much when the woman gets beaten up? What's the line?
Well, you got to keep it to where it's man against man, woman against woman, unless we can't control it. But it's never going to be sanctioned that the woman is now, okay, you start like that, where they're the opponents. If she gets involved and interferes, well, then the referee's job is to get her out of the ring, even though she smacked the guy. And if she smacked him, he's got a right, I guess, to hit her back, but it ain't me, it ain't hitting me, so I don't give a fuck, okay? As long as they don't get counted out or disqualified or whatever, that's the thing. The rules are the rules.
I've asked, I don't know how many wrestlers about that support it, right? And I don't really have an opinion either way. It's great to see women do what they can to guys, but then there's that line of, but is it believable? And would a woman really be
Luna
able to do that?
Vachon was believable.
Let me tell you something. Luna
Vachon,
she kicked you in the balls, your balls were kicked.
Yeah.
That was it. Listen, I'm not talking about these little wannabe, I don't want to go into my whole thing, all right? But the little girls who come in and this is what they do. Yeah? What are you going to do? Yeah? Like, what? Absurd. To me, these little things, if you want to fight, fight. That's it. Don't give me the posturing. I don't want the gestures and the posturing.
But that's what they're doing.
They're
they're throwing.
A fake slap, or when they swing up here, and then she does a duck that's like not even a duck. No, I don't want that. We don't employ those people. La Varonesa is a legitimate second-generation wrestler. Her mother's name, I believe, is Miss Lady. Okay? And there's some heat going on. Leandra Rodriguez. She's a wrestler.
Okay.
These broads will kick your ass. Evan, you insult them,
Sherry
they'll kick your
Martel
ass.
was tough. Luna was tough.
Right.
Nicole Bass certainly was tough.
Tell me Moolah didn't have a few bar fights in her life.
Yeah.
And Wendy Richter, let me tell you something.
Young
woman,
too, for sure.
Yeah, fuck with Wendy Richter. She'd take you and spin you around the ring like no tomorrow.
While you're drooling over her.
Well, I don't care what it is. Fanboys wouldn't be so nice, wouldn't be so drooling if they were getting the shit kicked out of them. They like it when they watch other people.
Mark, what do you think online when the fanboys do the fuck, marry, kill thing? Isn't that tacky? Isn't that tacky?
Stupid and womanizing.
Yeah.
And they don't have the right to be a womanizer because who did they fuck?
Ooh,
who did they? They're sitting in that, playing with your shake weight. That's not considered experience.
Some of the, and the thing is, when you call it intergender, does it take away that it's wrestling? Like I see a Jordan Grace or a Tessa Blanchard, they're kicking and punching and they're stiff and it's not soft.
The rebel.
But I mean,
I would.
So it has to be credible then, the intergender.
Well, I think that's what a lot of them are saying, right? Do you take it? Listen, one of the best things right now going for Impact is the Sami Callihan, Tessa Blanchard. They beat the hell out of each other, but by the end of it, he hands her baseball bat because they went to war. Now, it's an art, so I'm okay to suspend belief because I'm going to believe that.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about what we're doing is not going to be one-on-one intergender.
Right.
That's what I guess you people got it. We're doing intergender tag. That means that it's a man and a woman. Okay, against a man and a woman. We're going to keep it man versus man and woman versus woman, whatever we can control of that.
Right.
Within the rules, you don't got it.
But you can tag anybody in.
Listen, the man's going to tag the woman, so the other one's got to go and the other guy's got to go and tag his partner.
Oh, okay. So it's
it's a forced tag. But you see, it could be strategic. It could be done so fast that before the guy has a chance to tag, right? It could work out.
Yeah.
To either advantage. The idea is to have something interesting. Okay, I'm thinking of bringing in. There's wrestlers in Puerto Rico that are very interesting in terms of transgender. How about cross dressing? I mean, there's all kinds of things that are done.
Yeah. Mix it up, but you don't need 19 matches in 5 hours.
No. That's one thing you'll appreciate. Now, look, I know you might say even this is a lot, but I've got it trimmed to where nobody's going home going, oh, God, I can't believe it. Oh, what a headache. No, when people are walking out, they're still talking about what they saw. They're walking out with energy. 10 matches, period.
Yeah, that's perfect.
No surprises.
It's perfect.
No surprises. And unfortunately, the only thing I might have to worry about is if somebody, God forbid, something happened to somebody on the night of the show.
Yeah.
But other than that, the card isn't subject to change. I'm not going to change my mind. I said it was subject to change, so I decided this guy and this guy. No, the card is set.
And have a mic that works.
We got a sound system that works. As a matter of fact, they're actually going to have music for each wrestler, what they need.
Because otherwise it's just a pounding in my head.
Believe me, you and I both know that very well. And one of my famous memes is, just once I like to have a working mic. All I do, I talk for a living. That's what I do. Yeah. Okay, and you would think that it would give somebody that talks for a living something, besides a throat lozenge.
So we are rapidly running out of time. This is your last chance for plugs, both you guys. Plug anything you want to plug.
You better plug what you want, because I'm going to take as much time as
Okay. I've been fortunate because with Pro Wrestling Posted, like we've said, it's a labor of love. But I can't. I'm only as good as those that are supporting and around me. And Brandy Wagner and Mark Blake, who are my editors, they're the ones that whenever I want to put something that might be speculative and just clickbait, they're there to kind of bring me down, and it doesn't work without them, and I'm going to thank them for everything. But you've almost been on this road with me since day one of opening the site. Last summer, I mean, things kind of calmed down, and then you've been able to contribute, and I thank you, Evan. But this has also provided an opportunity. I'm going to be writing for Chris Jericho's webisjericho.com. Awesome. So I'm going to have a piece coming out on Tessa Blanchard. Yeah.
Chris Jericho endorsed 350 days. We were grateful. Fantastic. He's not even in it. Guy's a good guy.
Listen, he wants to be in the next one. So make sure
351 days.
Make sure he's the next one. Well, listen, maybe somebody will come up with some kind of short movies or something, about indie wrestlers. We could call it something different.
Yeah, that's how Nets
Jericho
go.
is always great. You got to admit the guy could work, and the guy knows how to promote himself and those around him. So thank God for guys like Chris Jericho.
And he can still work. And he's not
Oh
a kid.
yeah, no.
And thank God for guys like him and me.
That's
Mr.
right.
Big.
Mr. Big.
That's me.
That's
the
a
trademark.
Manager, champion of managers.
One guy remembers. One guy remembers it.
Yes.
You know how many times they get it backwards? And I gotta tell you something. I like John Pantosi an awful lot.
He's a historian.
He's a good announcer. But motherfucker, it's the manager of champions.
Champion
the
of
champion of managers. Mr. Big. If you don't do it that way, I'm going to give you more to say. I'm going to make you put in the minister of Michigas, the rabbi of the ring. I'll give you 2 more things to say if you don't say it in the right order.
That's right.
You know, I once knocked a guy out. I'm telling you, this is true. I knocked the fucking DJ out because he decided to be part of the show and put his mouth on a microphone, not my mic, but his mic, to call me Big Red. Like he was trying to announce me, like separate from the ring announcer. And when the guy would say what he would say, we've got Big Red. And I said, you better straighten it up. And I gave him a smack.
Yeah.
And he didn't. I gave him a fucking smack. And with this, it ain't Andre, but it's on the way. Okay? And he went down. And he wouldn't stay down. And he got up, and I just fucking knocked him out. Because why? Because he was just disrespecting me.
Wow.
Okay, like, you said once that I look like somebody that used to and probably still could, and yeah, I still can, and have been doing always since. Okay,
there you go.
And I'll be doing September 7th for Mr. Frank Goodman. I'm bringing Smiley to Psycho Lucha. Evan, you want to see this fucking show? I mean it. You want to see it?
You got a preview
This
for
guy
us too,
alone,
right?
he's got more moves than X-Lax. And I'm telling you right now, he's fucking awesome.
I've seen Smiley. He's great. He's great. Yeah.
This guy does a brain buster into off the top turnbuckle into the top turnbuckle. He's got more in and out moves. I love this guy, and that's why I'm bringing him in to USA Pro. Okay, I'm also bringing the Super Nitro and his brother JT Riddick in there.
And Super Nitro is going to be on the show next week.
They're going to be pure dynamite. Yeah, you better make it. You say you want to get here, you better get here. Put yourself over, kid. Okay, but he's working with his brother, even though we have him in a strap match on September 28th. That's just to get their shit out finally. So, but they're working together on September 7th.
What's more entertaining than 2 brothers, legit brothers, beating each other with a strap?
How about strapped to it? And it's the death strap. It's that fat one. It ain't that little, ain't like the belt you wear to
like
hold your
Valentine and Strong.
They're going to go over whatever it was. Could have been a girl, could have been, who knows. And Homicide is going to be there.
Homicide's awesome.
He's working a match versus Bull James.
Yeah, that'd be
Let
great.
me tell you something. That's going to be like a fucking rodeo.
Yeah.
Shit. That's going to be like a rodeo.
That'd be better than anything on the WWE pay-per-view.
With Julius Smokes on the outside, and sometimes I seen him come do a flying headbutt in between the ropes from the outside. He went from the guardrail, banged the guy and was halfway in the ring with his body. The funniest motherfucker, he really is, but he's serious. See, I could say he's funny, but they don't call them the Rottweilers because they're like little, they nip at your heels. These guys will take your fucking leg off. They'll go for the jugular, they'll go for what's that other one in here, the one in not the jugular, the one in the carotid.
Carotid artery.
They'll go for them all, okay? So I'm just telling you, it's going to be a crazy match. Hamlet's wrestling.
Yeah, I love Hamlet. Okay? Hamlet Hertzu, I love that guy. He's awesome.
El Guapo is wrestling. That's part of that intergender tag. Okay, Alexander Thorne is on one side, Lou's on the other. You got, I'm sorry, senior moment.
Anyway, you missed the birth of your mother and father. Don't miss NEW Wrestling. We want to thank Mr. Big and Mark Madison from the ProWrestlingPost.com. And we'll review some of these shows for Mark's website.
We should, definitely.
Worldwide audience.
Definitely.
I'll tell you something, you got a good publication. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you very much.
MR.BIG, capital M, capital B. Put a little trademark on the side of the G.
Might want to, definitely.
There you go.
Do that.
There you go.
Let's spell it right and spell it often.
And when we come back, we're going to shift gears completely. We're going to have live music with Karen Bella. Excellent artist, singer, songwriter, guitarist. Don't you dare go anywhere. Thank you, Mr. Big and Mark
welcome.
Madison.
Hey, what is this?
I plugged it already.
You plugged it already?
Yeah, plug it again.
Yeah, we plug it. Sure, you got time for that
there
shit,
you
right?
Go.
Got time for that.
That's right.
350 days. I wasn't in it, but I endorse it. And I want to see you in October, and I want to see you in November, and of course, twice in September. Anything else that you do after that or before, God bless you. Get this fucking movie. I'm telling you, if you don't, you're stupid.
Superstar Billy Graham, Bret Hart, Greg Valentine.
Right, what am I saying about this? If you don't get this movie, you're stupid.
There you go. If you don't get this movie, you're stupid. Thank you. Mr. Big, Mark Madison. We'll be back in just a few with singer-songwriter Karen Bella.
Say, you're Bobby Rivers, right?
Bobby barely registers and nods while he looks around for women.
I love how you beat Willie Dean tonight. I hate that guy. You know, I can't.
Bobby looks at the bar and sees Willie Dean talking to two girls.
Hey, Chris, kayfabe.
He looks at the fan.
Sorry, man, we stay here. There's going to be a fight. You know what I mean? Let's go, Chris.
Chris asks, why didn't we stay? There wasn't going to be any fight.
Listen, brother. Bert Ironside's rule number 1. Baby faces and heels do not socialize.
Why?
It's all about protecting the business. You don't tell your 5-year-old that there's no Santa Claus, and faces and heels do not sit in a bar full of marks drinking together.
Kings of the Ring is the first audio drama podcast based on wrestling. Search Kings of the Ring from any podcast app or kingsotr.com.
The wrestling fan, you know, they loved you or they hated you. You know, if the fan loved you, they couldn't do enough for you. You know, they want to buy your meal, they want to buy your drink. I think it was one of the main reasons that, you know, whenever I stepped into the ring, I wanted to give back. I wanted to satisfy their reason for coming out and watching me wrestle.
I tell you what, I treated fans with respect and they loved me back. Whether I was a heel or a babyface, it didn't matter.
I learned right from the get-go with my parents that it was to
And it was, you know, you were in fear for your life sometimes.
The New Jersey crowds were always great in the Boston Garden. It was dangerous at the Boston Garden.
The fans were believers in that era. They believed the doggone thing was real, and they were very. Some of the fans were very violent.
I look back on it and I'm saying, well, you put up a lot of you know what. But you know something? That's what drove me to do it. Because the more those people hated me, more this I made.
I was being punched and kicked, and I was having beer thrown on me. I was being hit by chairs.
How angry do you want to make your wrestling fans? How much do you want to butcher up your baby faces until they're all bleeding and they're being beaten by 8 or 10 guys? I mean, how far can you push an audience before they lose it, and then you have the album kind of thing?
Play with people's heads, you know. You gotta play with their minds, you gotta play with them. Psychology. Because that's how you manipulate people. And that's what I do. That's what I did for a living. I manipulated you when you were a kid. I know I did. Because you probably didn't like me, or you might have liked me, because I was that way. And a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. Thank you for the living I made at it, people. You were very good to me.
Can I be honest? A lifetime can change every day. And sometimes we don't notice that someone isn't worth the chase. It may last forever. It may better, but don't give yourself away. 'Cause I've learned how to live with the pain, screaming loud arthritis of the brain. And I've seen humor filled with disdain, but nothing hurts as much as when I hear your name. I'll never be Adonis. Oh, I just wanted to be a goddess anyway. Most of the time I'm guarded, oh, I'm haunted by the oddest dreams that become nightmares. And every fairy tale that fell through encapsulates the things that we do, feeling the hate. 'Cause I've learned how to live with the pain, screaming loud arthritis of the brain. And I've seen humor filled with disdain, but nothing hurts as much as when I hear your name. I never wanna leave the past behind. I just wanna be one of a kind. I wanna feel your arms melt into mine, not beat around the bush and waste our So can I be honest? A lifetime can change every day.
The wrestling fan, you know, they loved you or they
One of the
hated
exciting
you.
things
If
about
a fan
writing
loved you,
and teaching a sushi
they
class.
couldn't do enough for you. You know, they want to buy your meal, they want to buy your drink. I think it was one of the main reasons that, you know, whenever I stepped into the ring, I wanted to give back. I wanted to satisfy their reason for coming out and watching me wrestle.
I tell you what, I treated fans with respect and they loved me back. Whether I was a heel or a babyface, it didn't matter.
I learned right from the get-go with my parents that it was to appreciate every single fan that you got, everyone. You know, I think that's one of the reasons I've had longevity in wrestling, is that I always treated my fans with a lot of respect.
They wanted to kill me trying to get to my car, and they always knew I was in a Cadillac or something, and it was, you know, you were in fear for your life sometimes.
The New Jersey crowds were always great in the Boston Garden. It was dangerous at the Boston Garden.
The fans were believers in that era. They believed the doggone thing was real, and they were very. Some of the fans were very violent.
I look back on it and I'm saying, well, you put up a lot of you know what, but you know something? That's what drove me to do it, because the more those people hated me, more this I made.
I was being punched and kicked, and I was having beer thrown on me. I was being hit by chairs.
How angry do you want to make your wrestling fans? How much do you want to butcher up your baby faces until they're all bleeding and they're being beaten by 8 or 10 guys? I mean, how far can you push an audience before they lose it and then you have the Alamo kind of thing?
Play with people's heads, you know. You got to play with their minds. You got to play with them. Psychology. Because that's how you manipulate people. And that's what I do. That's what I did for a living. I manipulated you when you were a kid. I know I did. Because you probably didn't like me. Or you might have liked me because I was that way. And a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. Thank you for the living I made at it, people. You were very good to me.
All right, we are back with the Evan Ginzburg Show. And if you're in show business long enough, I once did radio 3 in the morning. We had a blackout.
I found parking and I put my guitar on my back like a backpack. And I was like, okay, I'm 3 minutes late from 11:30, my supposed arrival. And I'm like, okay, I'm here. And then I came inside and I saw Mr. John. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm here. We can wait. And then I went, I don't have my bag. And then I was like, did I lock myself out? That happened to me once before while I was, about to perform.
So does that throw off your concentration? You have a performance, you're locked out of your car, you don't know how you're going to get back in later? I mean,
well, I know inevitably it's going to be solved.
Okay.
And because I've been through it once before, I'm not as freaking out. But it increases the adrenaline in your body, so you know you're going to have the energy to do what it is that you need to do.
So it actually, you channel it into something positive.
But I do have to say, I'm really happy that I'm a AAA member.
There you go.
And they came really, really fast, and I got to give a shout out to Drew. Wait, where's the camera? Right here. Drew, thank you so much for opening my car door so quickly. And I have all my belongings.
Drew.
And thank you, Drew. Who's a fan of this station.
Wow.
Which is amazing.
There you go.
So,
AAA is also a wrestling promotion in Mexico. I bet you didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So anyway, Karen, tell us about yourself. It's your first time on the show. I see you play folk festivals, blues festivals, rock festivals. That's pretty eclectic.
Oh, yeah. I grew up listening to a variety of different music, partially because of my father. He listened to jazz and early rock and roll,
right.
What's his name, Little Richard.
Oh yeah,
things like that, Elvis. And so that was my basics growing up. And then when I was going to school, I got into R&B, and I was listening to Mariah Carey and Brandy and Boyz II Men. And then
Boyz II Men are playing this week at the Ford Amphitheater at Coney Island.
They really?
Oh yeah, I love Boyz II Men.
I think there are only 3 right now instead of 4.
Exactly.
Yeah, but they're still great.
Yeah.
And then I started listening to the conventional pop music like NSYNC and Britney Spears.
Right.
And then I started listening to progressive rock like Dream Theater and Symphony X.
Okay.
Metallica, which is more heavy metal. But growing up I also sang Broadway and jazz, so it's and I studied opera as well. So it's such a variety of different things. And so there's a little bit of each thing in my music. And then I also listen to Jewel, which is folky, and Joni Mitchell. There's so many artists that I listen to, but I mostly idolize Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
Not because she's the most amazing singer in the world, but it's because of the way she exudes her passion when she sings. And I remember seeing Funny Girl for the first time when I was a little girl, and I went, that's what I want to do for the rest of my life.
When I was a kid, every year they would play these classic musicals on TV. West Side Story, Funny Girl, Sound of Music.
Yes.
And every time Funny Girl played, the family would sit and watch. And that opening number where she's on the boat, it's amazing. It's an amazing scene.
Wait, that was the opening number for...
In Funny Girl.
In Funny Girl?
I believe so.
I don't even... I remember...
I haven't seen it in 30 years.
She was something like with her family, I think. That's one of the scenes she is on a boat. And I think that's when she's chasing after Her,
Nikki Onstein?
Yeah, Nikki
Yeah. Great movie. I saw some great female vocalists this summer. Layla Hathaway doing Donny Hathaway at Lincoln Center. It was tremendous. And just Friday, I saw Jody Watley, and she killed. There are better singers in the world, but there's not too many better performers.
Yeah.
Jody Watley is tremendous performer. She's 60 years old. 60 is the new 40.
Yes.
She didn't stop moving for 2 hours. I mean...
That's like Mick Jagger.
Yeah. Mick Jagger's in his 70s.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm going to see Bobby Rush, the R&B blues player, this Wednesday at the Cutting Room. Bobby Rush is 85. He looks like he's 55. The guy does 2-3 hours. The guy's amazing. Boundless energy. And I find with older performers, the true veterans, the true greats, they'll walk off stage and all of a sudden look old sometimes.
Yeah.
But when they're on stage, it gives them life. It gives them energy. What's your take on that?
When you do what you love, you're happy.
Yeah.
And I'll say the only way that I can relate to that statement is when I was working a 9-to-5 job. Now, I don't think there's anything wrong with a 9-to-5 job. I think it's a wonderful way to make a steady income and a salary and take care of your family. But for an artist, for a creative person,
it could be soul killing.
So I was getting sick every week, going to doctors every week. I was even starting to get heart problems.
Really?
Because like my body was so fighting it, and
mind and body are connected.
My natural pacemaker was starting to work irregularly.
Really?
And so I said to myself, I have to do music full time because I can't do a 9-to-5 job and put music on the side. And the moment I did that, I stopped getting sick.
Really?
My heart's perfect now. Everything's put together.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a friend, Edwin Vasquez, who did the Cape Man with Paul Simon and Mark Anthony, the Broadway show. And this guy's a tremendous artist, but he's not a kid. But he is a full-time artist. And I find a lot of educators, at some point, they give up. They give up the art. I'm like, are you singing? Are you acting? Are you dancing? And they go, oh, no, I'm tired. I'm marking papers. I'm like, you work 180 days a year as a school teacher. Why can't you still follow your muse? And sometimes a regular job drains you and kills it for people. But the true artists somehow find a way to make it work.
I think that artists need a lot of time to just kind of have nothing to do, like during the day or something.
And create.
Yeah, because you have to tap into that energy and kind of prepare yourself before a performance. And when you're doing something else that's preoccupying your time, whether it's intellectually or physically, it will drain you. And by the time you go into that creative field or you have to perform, you're almost like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Everybody is different. So I can't speak for everyone, but I know for myself, I'm all or nothing.
There you go.
I have to do music full time. I've tried keeping it part time, and this is what I'm supposed to do, and everything is falling into place since I've made that decision.
And what about the ancillary incomes? I have a friend, Lawrence Worrell. He was Bernie Worrell from P-Funk's cousin, and he gets his music onto MTV, commercials, ringtones, whatever the case may be. He's figured out the business end of it.
Yes.
Because sometimes the live gigs, they're not the be-all and end-all.
Yes.
So how do you channel the music into the right places, where you can live off the music?
Well, I do gig a lot. I do a lot of paid gigs. Whether it's private parties, restaurants, pubs, venues, corporate events, absolutely. There are shows that you do for free, sporadically, and you do get tips, but you never know who's watching, and you never know what work you're going to get out of it. Now, you brought up something really great, Evan. The business side of music.
Show business. People forget.
Business.
Yeah.
There is nothing like show business. It's business plus. You have to not only network, but you have to be really smart, and you have to understand the business. I'm still learning. I don't know everything, but I'm learning that you have to be very protective, lots of contracts. You have to be smarter than a lawyer almost
Right.
in this field, especially as a self-managing artist. And you have to learn, and you have to remember there's not one way to get to where you want to get it. You're going to go through all different loops and holes and mazes to get to where you want.
Well, today you could get one song on the right independent film or even mainstream film or whatever the case may be, and the song blows up because that project blows up.
Well, if you're lucky and you send enough emails and you reach out to the people, to whatever people you need to reach out to, you might be lucky and you'll get that yes. You're going to get a lot of no's. I'm still getting a lot of no's, and I understand that. And I'm just keeping on going. And I do have a lot of almost opportunities that I'm working on making them real opportunities as opposed to almost. But I've been a full-time musician for a year and a half, and a lot has been happening since I've done that. It's been a miraculous journey so far.
I have an idea for you, and you could veto it if you choose to. But you sounded like you sound like you have an interesting life story, that you overcame illness, etc., so on, to pursue your art, to pursue your muse.
Well, multiple things actually tried to stop me from performing. I have an ear condition. I have tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears, but most people have that in general. But what came from that when I was 24 was hyperacusis, which is sensitivity to sound.
Wow.
So I dealt with that for about a year, 6 to 8 months more realistically. And that's when you can't handle sound. Everything hurts and it gets distorted. So it sounds like things are just getting distorted and waves are happening in your ears. It's crazy. It seems to be more of an inner ear thing. I went to every doctor that you can think of, in network, out of network. They're like, it's psychosomatic. They didn't even know what the issue is. Yeah. So I had to wait for my brain to just retrain myself to handle sound.
Interesting.
Now, fast forward to when I don't care. I love the fact that I'm 35, so I'm very happy with my age. So when I was 32, I lost my voice.
Wow.
For about a year. And the reason why I lost my voice was a mixture of acid reflux, which what happens is when you sleep, the acid comes up. And then it goes into the other side of your esophagus, around your vocal cords, and it burns the skin, and it causes irritation, and it affects your voice, and incorrect technique. So I had to go to speech therapy and holistic voice coaching in East Northport with a great vocal coach named Ron. And I'm not saying his last name because I always pronounce it wrong, and I don't want to do that.
But what I was starting to say was, you might consider one day doing a one-woman show where it's not only singing but acting, and you're telling your life story.
That's a good
and
idea.
you're telling the various obstacles that you've overcome, but you're showcasing your music.
Oh, absolutely. It's basically like a cabaret when I perform, whether even in a restaurant or a bar. I do talk to the audience. I do joke with them. I do tell them things.
But I'm saying literally a one-woman show, it could
like
be
on Broadway.
60 minutes, 75 minutes, whatever the case may be, where you're telling these stories and then the songs that relate to the stories.
Yeah.
It's just a different avenue to get the music out.
That's a good idea.
And then you're the only one that is up there. Instead of being at a festival where there's 27 acts, it's all about you.
But I think you can do all those things. You can do festivals, and you can do.
Oh,
your
absolutely,
brilliant
absolutely.
idea.
I'm just throwing it out as something you may not have explored, because sometimes, like I saw Whoopi Goldberg in this little tiny theater, and next thing you knew, she was like a superstar.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes you have that showcase, and the right people see it, the right critic,
for sure,
the right media, and it's like, she has an interesting story, and the music's great.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
Well, as a singer-songwriter, every song I write is a part of my life.
Sure.
It's like a page from my diary. So I have a song called Fly that's going to be on my upcoming EP that is about the dark side of getting lost in drugs. I got myself out of it. That was in my early 20s when you're experimenting with things. And people think the song is about, oh yeah, I'm high, I'm stoned. And I'm like, no, if you listen to the lyrics, it's talking about
it's not endorsing
you're
it.
You're not productive, you're not doing anything because of that stuff. You know, so that's definitely a part of my journey. But I have to say that even though I had an ear problem and even though I had a voice loss issue, it didn't stop me from getting back on track and going for it. And doing everything I can to achieve my goals.
There you go.
Yes.
And tell us about the video we showed prior.
So I shot that video out in Patchogue. It's one of my songs, Needle in the Hay, which is also going to be on my upcoming
And
EP.
what does that symbolize?
Needle in the Hay is about the search of happiness. And that sometimes can feel like searching for the needle in the haystack.
Right.
We're all looking to be happy. It's not about the money. It's not about the this. It's not about the material.
Plenty
things.
of millionaires put a gun to their head. It's not about the money.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's talking about so many different things, like, you know, don't chase. You know, sometimes you don't notice when you're, you know, not to chase someone that you're chasing, or wishing you were beautiful when you don't feel like you are, or how your life doesn't end up in a fairy tale. Learning to live with the pain that you have inside of you, hearing someone's name, and that's one of the most painful thing. It's searching for happiness.
There you go.
And it's not, you have to really listen to the lyrics to get that message. And I remember my producer, when we were recording it, he's like, why is it called Needle in the Hay? And I'm like, it's the search for happiness. And he's like, oh, that makes sense now.
There are people that have achieved unbelievable things but have never been happy.
Yeah.
So, and then there are people who are just getting by. They could barely pay the bills, and they're happy. There's an irony to it.
Look at someone like Anthony Bourdain or
killed
Robin
himself,
Williams. You know,
I was in a gym. I was on a bike, furiously pedaling, trying to stay alive, and I'm watching the TV, and all of a sudden, this is like 5 years ago, Robin Williams hung himself. And I said to myself, he had more success, more fame, more money than anybody in that gym, and you know we're still trying to, you know, stay alive, stay healthy. There's a certain irony to it. Absolutely.
Yes, it's hard to understand it at times. Depression is a real physical illness.
Oh yeah.
It's something that sometimes you can't fight it. Sometimes you need medication for it, sometimes you don't. And the illness can beat you.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you have to be...
I've had 4 friends kill themselves. 4.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So, yeah.
Now that we brought everybody down. But no,
Let's bring
seriously.
everybody up.
No, but seriously.
It's important to remember happiness is achievable. You can do it. So that's what Needle in the Hay is about. And I'm going to make more videos like that to get myself out there. It looks good when you have a professional video out there.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So, is there anything you'd like to plug? Tell people about your social media, any upcoming projects, gigs?
Sure. You can go to KarenBella.com. That connects to all my social media. My Facebook, which is Karen Bella Music. My Instagram, which is also Karen Bella Music. My Twitter, which is Karen_Bella_. I had to change that because somebody hacked my account.
Okay.
And you can also see my upcoming schedule of all the places I'm going to be performing the next couple of months. I'm going to be performing at a couple of festivals in September. So on the 7th of September, I'm at the Stat Festival in Farmingdale. I'm going to be performing in the VIP brunch earlier in the day, around like 11 or noon. And then I'm going to be performing on September 8th, which is Sunday, at the East Northport Festival at 5:15.
Awesome.
Which is exciting. I'm excited to do that. I got a lot of other cool stuff coming up, so you could see that on my webpage. And my EP should be done by early fall.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And after the break, would you like to perform for us?
Yeah, of course.
Awesome,
Absolutely.
awesome. So we'll be right back with Karen Bella after this very brief commercial timeout.
Say, you're Bobby Rivers, right?
Bobby barely registers and nods while he looks around for women.
I love how you beat Willie Dean tonight. I hate that guy. You know, I can't
Bobby
help
looks
but
at the
to
bar
know
and
that
sees
Philly
Willie
balls
Dean
in
talking to 2 girls.
Hey, Chris, kayfabe.
He looks at the fan.
Sorry, man, we stay here. There's going to be a fight. Know what I mean? Let's go, Chris. Chris asks, why didn't we stay? There wasn't going to be any fight. Listen, brother. Bert Ironside's rule number 1. Baby faces and heels do not socialize. Why? It's all about protecting the business. You don't tell your 5-year-old that there's no Santa Claus, and faces and heels do not sit in a bar full of marks drinking together.
Kings of the Ring is the first audio drama podcast based on wrestling. Search Kings of the Ring from any podcast app or kingsotr.com.
The wrestling fan, they loved you or they hated you. If the fan loved you, they couldn't do enough for you. They want to buy your meal, they want to buy your drink. I think it was one of the main reasons that, whenever I stepped into the ring, I wanted to give back. I wanted to satisfy their reason for coming out and watching me wrestle.
I tell you what, I treated fans with respect and they loved me back. Whether I was a heel or a babyface, it didn't matter.
I learned right from the get-go with my parents that it was to appreciate every single fan that you got, everyone. I think that's one of the reasons I've had longevity in wrestling is that I always treated my fans with a lot of respect.
They wanted to kill me trying to get to my car, and they always knew I was in a Cadillac or something, and it was, you were in fear for your life sometimes.
The New Jersey crowds were always great in the Boston Garden. They were dangerous at the Boston Garden.
The fans were believers in that era. They believed the doggone thing was real. And they were some of the fans were very violent.
I look back on it and I'm saying, well, you put up a lot of you know what. But you know something? That's what drove me to do it. Because the more those people hated me, more of this I made.
I was being punched and kicked, and I was having beer thrown on me. I was being hit by chairs.
How angry do you want to make your wrestling fans? How much do you want to butcher up your baby faces until they're all bleeding and they're being beaten by 8 or 10 guys? How far can you push an audience before they lose it and then you have the Alamo kind of thing?
Play with people's heads, You got to play with their minds. You got to play with them. Psychology. Because that's how you manipulate people. And that's what I do. That's what I did for a living. I manipulated you when you were a kid. I know I did. Because you probably didn't like me. Or you might have liked me because I was that way. And a lot of people did. A lot of people didn't. Thank you for the living I made at it, people. You were very good to me.
All right, we are back with the Evan Ginzburg Show at villageconnectionradio.com, and we are honored to have in studio performing live Karen Bella.
Hi, I think you're a talented guy. Walked up to tell you that. Didn't expect me to see how beautiful that you are. I think I'm in love. What am I supposed to do? Is this what it feels like to ride a shooting star? How am I supposed to groove? Can't move my feet, but I'll, buy you a drink, hoping that you want me to. Baby, I fell in love that first taking a chance to see if you'll reach out to me. Oh, so here is my card. How am I supposed to prove I know what it feels like to fall in love with a dude? Is this really not a mistake? Oh, I can't fabricate the way that you're making me shake. Darling, I can't speak for you. Maybe I fell in love at first sight. Maybe I fell in love at first sight. And I know there's some significance with you. And I see it clear in this crowded room. But I'll wait, I'll be patient, and I'll wait. And I'll wait, I'll be patient, and I'll wait. How am I supposed to prove I know what it feels like to fall in love with a dude? Is this really not a mistake? Oh, I can't fabricate the way that you're making me shake. Darling, I can't speak for you. Ooh, maybe I fell in love at first sight. Maybe I fell in love at first sight. Maybe I fell in love at first sight. Thank you. Thank you so much. So that song was called At First Sight. It's actually a real true story. I walked up to somebody and I just wanted to say hi to them and let them know I thought they were a talented musician. And the moment I looked at their face, I went, oh my God, you're the most beautiful man I've ever seen in my entire life. I'm in love with you.
Wow.
It didn't go anywhere, but
Wow.
but a song came out of it. All right. So this next song, I think we have time for one more, correct?
Whatever you want.
So I'm gonna do 10 more songs.
Okay.
And this last one is going to be on my upcoming EP. Now, I didn't mention it before, but I worked with some fantastic, top-notch people. I'm really, really lucky and fortunate to have met my producer and the musicians that are playing on the record. They've got Grammy nominations under their belt or worked on projects with Grammy nominations or Grammy Award-winning albums, and it's just been such a miraculous experience to have done this. This song is called Jack Honey, and I really hope Jack Daniels takes this for one of their commercials.
Yeah.
Your pretty blue eyes were a vacant disguise when you went away, and the hole that's inside eating me alive, keeping me awake. I swear on my life I'll never see color as vibrant as I did when I got to see. Behind cemented feather cracks in the walls that kept the secret of your beauty. The little lies that were kept in stride on the index page, and the haunted long nights that we got to find the difference of our age. I don't want the others to know how we got to feel the angle of your sculpted features in every way. Do you want my lovers to know, could see the ups and downs and in and outs and in betweens the clarity? You're not a cowboy, but if you were, you'd be Billy the Kid. outside in your black attire led me to the gate, into the world that you traveled in and the one that we'd create. I wanted to know if you were half as good as you implied, and show me how you demonstrate. And would this corrupt my mind, take it to the hand of time as we accelerate? You're not a cowboy, but if you were, you'd be Billy the Kid. You're not an outlaw, but if you were, I'd be your pistol switch. Give me a shot of Jack, honey, honey. Give me a shot of you. Give me a shot of Jack, honey, honey. Give me a shot of you. Oh, will it be all? Will it be all that we get to do? Got the money at all, Mr. International, almost perfect too. So, give me a shot of Jack, honey, honey. Give me a shot of you. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. Give me a shot of Jack, honey, honey. Give me a shot of you. You're not a cowboy, but if you were, you'd be Billy the Kid. You're not an outlaw, but if you were, I'd be your pistol switch. Give me a shot of Jack, honey, honey. Give me a shot of you. Oh, give me a shot of Jack, honey, honey. Give me a shot of you. Give me a shot of you. Give me a shot of you.
Go, all right. Aaron Bella.
Thank you.
Man, you sing with soul. Reminds me of Tina Marie. Remember Tina Marie?
I dislike saying no, but no. I'll look
Check
her
her
up.
out.
I'll look her up.
She was a white soul singer.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Tina
That's
Marie.
amazing.
She worked with Rick James back in the
Oh.
day. Yeah.
That's a big compliment. Thank you. I
There you
appreciate
go.
that.
Karen Bella. And I'm going to leave you with this. Keep the immigrants, deport the racist. What do you think, Mr. Big? Oh, you're not mic'd, but...
Do I need a microphone to get my voice across?
You don't.
Hell no. Fuck the racists.
There you go. There you go. That'll about do it, folks. Karen Bella, Mr. Big, Mark Madison, all the way from Toronto, Mark Madison.
Wow.
And
He took a slip.
Yeah, it was a long walk.
He knew I was going to be here. He knew Karen was going to be here.
That's right.
That's right.
I got here extra early because I didn't know when she was coming on, and I wanted to see every second of her.
Gotta talk louder. You're not mic'd.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you hear me say? Sorry. I came in particularly early because I knew Karen was going to be on.
That's right.
And
I
you
figured
consoled
this
me.
way, this way I could see every minute of you.
But you consoled me too when I left my everything, my keys and bag in the
Because
car.
I
You
knew
consoled
what
me.
it was about. When you're freaking out, I know it's in the car. Relax. Oh, you locked yourself out of the car? That's another story. She's looking for a phone. Evan, she's looking for a phone. I said it's in your back pocket. I was looking at her back pocket. I guess I was paying particular attention. So I happened to notice. She didn't feel it back then.
This show dedicated to Drew from AAA.
Thank you, Drew at
There you
AAA.
go. There you go.
I have to call AAA and just tell them, like, I want to make a T-shirt for him.
He saved the show. You could have been stuck
saved the show.
outside.
You gave Drew a very big plug when
Yes,
you
I did.
when you were right. Your beautiful Fox was right on camera telling him how you appreciated what he did. He probably blushed a little bit. He shifted gears when he didn't mean to. You know, he grabbed the stick shift right away and.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you should tell
he downshifted or
Drew,
upshifted
go to
her.
KarenBella.com and send me
That's
an
right.
email so I can be in touch with you and send you something.
KarenBella.com. Thank you so much, Karen. You're
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim Savali, our engineer and owner. And we will be back next week with Karsten Radke, German avant-garde jazz great, all the way from Germany.
Du Lieber.
Plus Super Nitro, Jim Phillips from Gorilla. What?
You'll get a gorilla position.
Gorilla Position.
See,
That's
what
right.
would you do if I wasn't here?
That's right. Gorilla Position.
I'm Mike now.
We'll
what are
be
you going to
back
fucking do, Jim?
We'll be back next week, folks. Thank you.
is this lonely man? Alone on the river with my heart in my hand. The conversation, they're all dead. The lines cut off inside my head. I left here like a broken man, with no idea of where I stand. Oh, my mind clears. Lord, I shed all of my tears. Oh, now baby, I was just waiting here while you moved on. Security, this newfound freedom you kept from me. The sound of all your loaded guns. This heartbreak war has just begun. The sound of all your loaded guns. This broken man has already won. Oh, my mind clear.